Good morning, everyone. So it's incredibly windy and it's been raining off and on today, but I've never seen this before and I was so excited. I just wanted to kind of come out to the garden and at least show you a little bit of what's going on. This is our Daikon Radish. This is the first year I've ever grown Daikon radishes, so I've definitely never seen one flower. But look at that flower stalk. It probably looks a lot smaller than what it is, but the flower stalk itself is over a foot tall. And if I can get down here, this radish is just massive. That's just the part that's sticking out of the ground. It's really cool to grow these. I didn't think that I'd enjoy this much, but I mean, this is my hand right here. So that is a massive amount of radish. So I don't know what happens to daikons after they flower, if they still taste okay or are edible, but I thought, well, if I already have several of them flowering, it might be a good time to just let them flower and see if we can get some more daikon radishes to just self-seed everywhere. And here are the flowers up close. Isn't that amazing? I think that's probably one of the most exciting things I've ever seen in a garden. Here's the close flower pods. So I made a habit of growing a little more exciting things to kind of keep my interest in my garden, because it just gets boring when you're just growing things every day that you can buy at the grocery store. But then there's some exciting things like this broccoli. Even though it's something I can buy at the grocery store, it's one of my son's favorite vegetables, and growing it out here has really caused him to be extremely excited and get out in the garden and take care of it. And it's a really cool way to get your kids to eat vegetables. It's producing a lot of side shoots. This is a destiny broccoli. And it seems that some people don't know this. I certainly didn't know when I was younger because my family didn't. But all of this broccoli is edible, except for the roots. You can eat the stem, you can eat the leaves, the head. It's all edible. So it doesn't taste as good once they start flowering. So this is the destiny broccoli. Here's another one, and here's the third one. And so we live in southeast Texas, so it gets really warm really quickly, so I'm not sure how big these will get before they flower, but I'll just cut them down all the way right here at the base, and I'll shred this and eat it in a salad, and then just eat the rest of it. Eat the leaves as you would kale, and eat the broccoli as you would broccoli, or eat it fresh. It's just really exciting to be able to come down to the garden and pick whatever you want. And there's a lot going on in this bed. We have carrots. This is one of my favorites. Look at this. This is the first time I grew this. I planted it during the winter. It's an artichoke. So I didn't know before I started growing plants, but artichoke's just a really big globe thistle. So I'm really excited about that. I've always eaten artichokes. I didn't realize that they were a thistle. I'm definitely going to let some of them flower. This is just one of many that I have. And they apparently get to be several feet tall and several feet wide. So I'm pretty excited to show how that comes along. So we also have a few other types of radishes in here. I can't even remember the name of this radish, but it's supposed to get even bigger than the daikon. On average, they say they grow about 15 pounds and are rumored to grow up to 100. Right now you can see it's not very big. It's definitely growing a lot smaller than the daikon radish did. But I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a slower growth, but it'll get a lot bigger. And you can see here's some more radishes, some more baby daikons over there that are starting to come up and that are flowering. I think even if I don't harvest massive daikons, I would definitely recommend it in place of carrots because they're mild. They can grow in the heat. I love that they break up the soil, and they get bigger than carrots much faster. So in a much shorter amount of time, you can have a lot more food. This is some of our carrots right here. Actually, these are our new Carota carrots. And the cool thing about growing them in patches like this is that carrots, as they ripen, a lot of times these tops will push up. Like you can see this one, the top's starting to push up, and they'll green because of the sun. But if they're grown like this, fairly close together, then it kind of protects the tops of them, keeps them from greening. Plus, all of these tops are edible. Honestly, for me, it tastes a lot like cilantro. So I'll obviously eat the carrot roots as anybody would carrots. And then I'll grind up the tops in the blender and make a pesto out of it. It's really rich in vitamin A, C, and K. And I just love it. So, but if you're not a fan of that strong cilantro taste like we are here in South Texas, I wouldn't recommend it. There's still a few more pretty cool things going on. I tried my hand at growing cabbage and Brussels sprouts in the spring. That was not the best idea I've had. I thought, well, even if it's not possible, like the broccoli, you can eat this entire plant. So you just cut it off at the base and eat all of it. So may not get a big cabbage head, but it's still a lot of fun to try and grow some. And here are TomThumb Peas. This one I'm most excited about. Look at those. They're such a small pea plant. They only get about 6 to 8 inches tall. I think my tallest one may be 8 to 9 inches. But the pea pods are pretty decent size on here, but the peas are actually really small. I opened one up earlier, and I was kind of amazed at how small the pea is, and I'll show you. Actually, there's one of the peas from inside of it. So it's not a very big pea. It's not bad for being inside such of a tiny pod, because here's the pod that it comes in. So, but still, for a small plant, it's pretty exciting. Then we have a ton of cilantro growing. This is a chamomile. It's actually like 20 chamomiles bunched together. So I'm kind of excited to see how those flower. It's a German chamomile. I grow it for tea. I buy a lot of chamomile flowers. Last year it was really hard to find them, so I thought it'd be pretty fun to grow them myself. This is our rhubarb Swiss chard. I'm pretty excited about that. The red ones are so beautiful. We grow the standard Swiss chard you're used to seeing, which is probably the white with green leaves, but this one is just breathtaking. It's so pretty. It would be a lot better if it was brighter outside and you could see its full color, but it's extremely cloudy. Have our peach rose growing within all of this. I really enjoy mixing our flowers with everything else. It's just really cool. Bee balm behind it, so you can kind of see how everything mixes together. This is our mint plant. I love it because it kind of protects the soil from erosion during the winter when everything else is asleep. It's one of the first plants to pop up when it gets warm, and it just spreads. It covers everything. It's a really great ground cover. If you like mint, you enjoy the smell. I like using it for tea. This is a chocolate mint, so it's really good in desserts. My lemongrass, which is just starting to come back. You can see just 1 or 2 little green coming out of it. So once it gets warm, because it really likes heat, it'll just pop back up. I cut them at the base when they get about a ½ inch in diameter, and take the center out and use it in tea. It's a great lemon flavor. It's also really good in place of lemon in your cooking. And I really enjoy just eating it raw. It has a really good flavor. So here's a lot more cilantro. Here's actually one of the pea flowers on our TomThumb Peas. So you can kind of see that. That's pretty cool. Here's a muscadine grape, but they're still in dormancy. I have 3 of them that haven't come back yet. I had a 4th one that had already come out of dormancy, but our basset hound decided that it would make a great snack, so he dug up the entire plant and ate it. Here is a Scotch kale. This is a really small, it's a dwarf variety of kale, so this is about as big as it gets. You can see it needs some of its leaves trimmed down here. Kind of been slacking on taking care of this garden bed. This is my neglect garden, so basically I neglect it, takes care of itself. And here's the center of that other radish I was telling you about. It's also starting to bloom. You can see just how much greenery is there. So I always encourage people to fry up the greenery and eat the tops on radishes, because it's just a lot that you would miss out on They do get a little spiny, but if you boil them down or you fry them up, I like frying them up and putting them into our noodles. Here's our rosemary. I just bought it from the local grocery store. It's pretty awesome. And here's one of my favorites. I never thought that I'd like a licorice flavored vegetable, but here it is, our fennel. I know a lot of people grow Florence fennel as an annual. Let me get down to the bulbs, but I've been growing mine as a perennial because I'm in zone 9A, and look at this. I can cut this bulb out right here. It's actually probably time to cut it out before it starts to go bad, and there's still several other bulbs here. And the trick really to getting to bulb is just to push the soil up. It's really that simple, and it'll bulb. So this is really cool because a lot of times you see fennel and it's grown as one bulb, but you can see, like, I'll take this out, there will be several bulbs left. And actually, look at that. So that's just one bulb from that fennel. That's pretty exciting to think that you can actually, if you're in a warmer climate or have a greenhouse, that you can actually just let the fennel grow on its own. And we've had several freezes this winter, and it's actually done really well. So I'm surprised that it made it through. I have another one over here, and you can kind of see where the seed stalk came out, and it actually seeded, but it didn't die, and there's still bulbs on this one too that are forming. So that's pretty cool. I always thought that once it formed its seeds, the plant would die off, but that's not the case, and now I'm reading that it can last for 3 to 4 years. So I'm thinking I might just twist this off at the base. Actually, there's no twisting that off, is there? It's quite sturdy, so I'll probably cut it off at the base and then let it continue to grow and harvest bulbs. And I'm really excited to see how many seasons I can continue to get bulbs just out of these two plants, which, by the way, were transplant fennel. I think it's really important to note they're a transplant because I hear a lot of times that they don't transplant well, but mine did. And not just that, there's actually an oregano that's trying to take over my fennel, and for me that's pretty important because a lot of times fennel is not a good companion plant. It produces off a chemical that kills other plants, but this oregano does not seem to care. I believe it was a spicy Italian oregano. I really don't know. I just know it's oregano, and it's amazing. So that's it for today. I don't show off my front bed nearly enough, so I just wanted to kind of show off some of the really cool plants here, like the Daikon Radish. Even though it's windy and it's not the greatest footage, I hope you enjoy it.